What happens when a group of paranormal investigators start a conversation? You get Ghost of the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. Tales of the dead, the bizarre, and all things supernatural. Join us now as we discuss past lives. Hi, and welcome back to Ghost of the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. I'm Erin.
I'm Linnea. I'm Deborah.
And today we are talking all about past lives. Real or simply just a figment of childhood imagination? What do you guys think?
I absolutely believe in past lives and
I was either a rat or a sharpshooter. I like cheese and shooting.
Oh, good. Cheese and shooting. Oh, God
No
bless.
particular order.
I like both as well. Maybe we're like lab rats. Lab rats.
Never know.
So what is a past life? Past lives is the belief that one has lived a life in a different body, possibly even in a different time period. And the modern idea of past lives comes from the theory of reincarnation. Not what incarnation. So reincarnation typically comes from Eastern religions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism. But as many have begun having spiritual awakenings, the topic of reincarnations and or past lives have become more of an open topic, which I love because I thoroughly believe in past lives. So let's get into it because this will likely be a deep conversation as religion does play into it, as well as a few other things. But we already answered if y'all believe in past lives, but do you think that you yourself have had a past life or life?
yes, and I was told that I did.
I did a regression on hopefully the YouTubes. I've done it a couple times and come up with some interesting things.
So I've spoken to a couple mediums, and I think I've mentioned that the one medium had said that Gianna and I were sisters in a past life, and that's why we butt heads so bad now.
That makes sense.
But then I had another session with the medium, and she actually went further into who I was in a past life.
Really?
Yeah, that I was a healer.
Makes
Which would kind of fall in line with the Reiki and stuff I do now. So,
what about you?
I don't know. I have experiences where makes me think maybe I could have, but I'm not sure.
what do you mean by an experience?
Just like deja vu. I don't know if it's from a past life or if it's a time travel thing.
Like a parallel?
Yeah.
Yeah. We could probably do a whole topic, a whole episode just on deja vu.
I was just, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting theory. You know, I've always been fascinated by the idea of past lives and getting to learn from your mistakes and not just have this one life to do it.
It should have hit me sooner in life.
Or lives.
It would have saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of headache.
Well, you're still learning.
But I remember in 5th or 6th grade, whichever it was, when we were learning about the different world religions, and we learned about Buddhism, and the idea of reincarnation was so fascinating to me. I think I actually went home one day and told my mom, arms crossed, I was like, I'm Buddhist now. Because I was so fascinated. But obviously now that I'm grown,
You're not Buddhist.
I'm not Buddhist, but I do tend to take multiple different like religions and how I live my life. So like I thoroughly believe that, the earth is made up of energy and what we put out is what we get back.
Right.
I also believe that there is more than this, and what may be after that is up for interpretation. But then I also think that that the people, the people that we know and the life that we live currently are all kind of predestined by soul contracts. And like when our souls first were, however that may have been.
So do you think then every time you come back as a person? Or do you think like you're a fly one time?
I mean,
how does that tie into a soul contract?
I want to be a gnat.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You live for like 3 hours.
I've got some noses I want to buzz the hell out of.
Well, we're going to get into that in a minute with karma. I don't necessarily believe that I would come back as an animal, but I know in like Hinduism, it's strongly believed that you would come back as whatever karma you put out.
Okay.
But like I think based on like my regressions that I've done, my YouTube University regressions, I have had, and I've only done it 3 times, but I have had 2 past lives that I feel very confident about.
Okay.
One was I was a female in 1700 something, and I lived on this homestead, and it was me. I had 2 sons and a daughter, and the husband ended up leaving for a period of time, and so it was up to us to maintain what was going on.
Right.
And when I've done these regressions, I'm thinking that because I don't see, obviously, like it's not like a whole flash forward of the whole life.
Right.
But what I've seen is I think it's more of like a poignant moment in the life.
Mm-hmm.
So like this one was an important part in that life because the husband was gone and she had to step up and take care of the kids, take care of the homestead, take care of all that. Well, then the next one that I did, and this one's probably the coolest one. It's the saddest one, but the coolest one. But I was a male during the Civil War, and that I was between the ages of 16 and 20. And it was a battle. I don't know what battlefield, don't know anything, but all I know is that I was injured in this battle, and I probably wouldn't have died had my people found me sooner.
Right.
But all I could hear in this regression, I could smell the dirt, smell the mud, smell the blood, hear the screams of people all around. Like there was a lot of bodies. And like it was something to do with my leg. Like that's all I know. And
do you know what your name was?
I do.
Was it Sam Davis?
No.
Okay.
But I don't think I was. I think it was like Thomas Buckner, Thomas Buck something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I was a Confederate soldier. I was a Union. I think it was for like Pennsylvania or New York.
Where are you getting Sam Davis from?
He was the youngest. My word just left me.
He was the youngest
soldier.
Okay.
In the war between the states that fought on the Confederate side. And he ended up, he was a mail carrier, if I remember correctly, and he was wounded and died.
Gotcha.
But they have a Sons of Confederate Veterans now has a youth camp, and it's called the Sam Davis Youth Camp.
Gotcha.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, I don't. Based on the research, the name that I got and the research I've done, I don't feel like I've found the person yet, but everything so far that I've found points to Union side. But I don't think that I was. I think I was one of those that weren't like claimed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they found me, they chucked me to the side, and that was it. So I think that's why I've had
Like one of the mass grave type things.
Yeah, I think that's why I've had a difficult time narrowing it down.
So let me ask you something. Do you ever have any issues with your legs?
I do.
You do?
I do actually. I have terrible knees.
Okay.
Yeah, both knees. They're terrible, but joint pain. Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing is, they say that, proof of a past life, not proof, but proof of a past life is problem areas on your body or weird birthmarks or weird unexplainable scars. So
both my kids have unique birthmarks.
Yeah.
Antonio has a heart on the back of his thigh, and he was born on Valentine's Day. And I swear to God, Gianna has the Wu-Tang symbol right under her ass. Wu-Tang symbol.
Oh my God. Wu-Tang. Oh my God. Yeah, no.
This child.
Good God. But yeah, it's but yeah, so they say that if you have weird birthmarks, I'm trying to think, was Gianna part of the Wu-Tang Clan back in the day?
She got the attitude for it. Maybe she was easy.
But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because you read these cases, and we're going to get into them in just a little bit, but you read these different cases of people, and it's mostly children who remember their lives.
I think it's probably because they've not had the years of garbage crowding their brain.
Right.
Everything's still fresh for them.
Yeah. And go ahead,
they said typically when kids are around 35 months, that's when they'll start talking about things that they may remember. And then by the time they're like 4 or 5, it's basically gone. Yeah.
So let's back up just a little bit and talk about soul contracts.
Okay.
Have y'all ever heard of a soul contract before?
No.
So a soul contract, according to mindeasy.com, quote, a soul contract is a spiritual agreement made before birth, believed to influence the trajectory. God, I can't talk tonight. Influence the trajectory of our lives, end quote. A pact between your soul and others in your soul family in your earthly life. So essentially when you sign this soul contract, you are given a soul family. You're assigned a soul family. And that soul family is meant to guide you and aid you. And
so is that your spirit guides?
No.
So.
Yeah, no, they're meant. There's
a lot of hands in the pot.
So I'm talking a lot with my hands tonight. But
no wonder I'm so convoluted. I am literally a mutt from all angles.
So soul family is not your spirit guides. It's actually people in your everyday life. The people you come into contact with can be members of your soul family, or your current family or your current friends can be a part of your soul family.
So does that mean their soul contracts are tied into yours?
So they're helping your lives as much as you're helping theirs.
So then, in every single life, are you kind of with those people all reincarnated? Interesting.
Yep. Hence, Gianna being your sister.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Like your
I get to do this over and over again.
until you learn your lesson.
Somebody even tell me what the lesson is.
But like your best friend in this life could have been a sister or a cousin or whatever in the last life.
I could see that. I would think that my sister now was probably somewhere else, and like we have such a bond that I think she could have been something else, and like maybe she was
Right.
my mother in another life. You know.
Right. So there are many different soul contracts. However, they all seem to work in similar dynamics. First one is a karmic contract. So these contracts come out when souls who have traveled lifetimes together have some sort of unresolved issues with one another. It's intended to teach us important life lessons and to settle our karmic debt.
Okay.
Soulmate contract. These contracts involve a strong connection between you and another soul that is met throughout your life in order to learn and grow and evolve.
So do you have a different soulmate each lifetime, or do you have the same soulmate but as a different person in every?
Well, a soulmate is not always a romantic partner. It can be a friend. It can be
Gotcha.
a coworker. I mean, it can be a number of things, people. Twin flame contract. Have y'all heard of twin flames?
Mm-mm.
I want to say it sounds familiar, but
Twin flames are essentially two souls that mirror each other, oftentimes creating a very deep but very like hectic relationship. Think about it, yin and yang. Opposites attract, right?
I know who my soulmate contract is then.
Your soulmate or your twin flame?
Oh, I'm sorry, my twin flame.
Oh.
He's been my best friend for 45 years.
And it's crazy, but deep.
Yes.
According to MindEasy.com, quote, this contract's purpose is believed to stimulate immense personal growth and self-awareness. Soul ties. Soul ties are formed via intensive emotional and physical contact. Although they are frequently crucial influences on one's spiritual journey, they are not always predestined like the aforementioned. Think about it like, I can't even say that.
but now I'm curious.
So like somebody comes into your life, you might have the same goals and same drive for something, but then if they are any of the above, they will likely stay in your life or life circle for the time.
Gotcha.
Whereas if they're just part of a soul tie, they're placed in your life specifically to help you learn something.
Just in that one life?
Probably just in that one life, yeah. So now that we have discussed some different types of contracts, let's discuss how we might recall some of these past lives. So the ability to recall memories of past lives without hypnosis or past life regression appears to only happen in children. I actually have a theory behind that.
Okay.
I'll get to that in a second. Many children between the ages of 5 and 7, sometimes from the age that they begin speaking, as you mentioned, 35 months old, they're able to give detailed accounts of things that have happened in a former life. It's so frequent that the University of Virginia School of Medicine, in the Division of Perceptual Studies, has conducted decades-long studies on this phenomenon.
Is that the Tucker guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got some notes on him too.
Good, go for it. You got more notes?
No, yeah.
He has accumulated 2,500 cases of children recalling memories from the past.
Well, you want me to jump in with my
Please.
Tucker notes? So this is a little bit of what I said, but I thought this was really interesting. So it is by the same guy, but this article was on mindbodygreen.com. So it said the average age when a child starts talking about their past life is 35 months. So usually it's around their 3rd birthday, says Tucker. As they gain better verbal skills, they might discuss events that happened in their past life or their previous family members. 75% of them will talk about how they died in their last life, says Tucker. In those cases, 70% of them are through some sort of unnatural means, murder, suicide, combat accidents, which fits into what you were saying with the accident.
What kind of accident did you say?
Combat accidents.
Uh-huh.
So basically, they're finding really the kids that are remembering past lives it was because it was a traumatic one.
Yeah.
Which might be why all kids aren't.
Right.
Remember. So I thought that was really interesting. It said, from those statistics, we can infer that a child is more likely to have a past life memory if it's associated with some sort of trauma from their previous life. That said, Tucker notes that a child will typically reveal past life details when they feel safe or relaxed. The child has to be in the right frame of mind to talk about these things, he notes. It's usually during relaxed times, sometimes after a bath or during a car ride.
It's interesting too because I think I read the same article, but these kids, everything does. If you look at some of the tales or stories that these kids share, a lot of it does revolve around trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was, I want to say there was a spike in past life experiences in kids born after 9/11.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very interesting to me.
There was, in some of my research, there was like a boom of it after Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think, if I remember correctly, 9/11 was the next big boom.
Big event, yeah. Well, and they say that time periods that you are personally drawn to and like feel really led about and are a time period from your past life.
Right.
Like for me, I've always been really into Revolutionary War era, antebellum and Civil War era, and then the early 1900s.
Now, me not so much, but I've always been super fascinated by like Salem and.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes they say in the past like witches weren't really witches, but they might have been medicine people that were accused of that stuff. Which again,
see, I feel real drawn. When you talk about Salem, the feeling I get is the feeling when I talk about home.
Right. So maybe we knew each other.
We could have. I done this little thing, whatever.
I was off on my homestead.
TikTok today.
Yeah.
Let me show you real quick. I don't know. It just, and I've never been, but
And I don't know
For
that if
some
it is
reason,
something
it
you
just
have to explain.
it feels like home.
Just something that draws you in.
Yeah.
Right. See, I'm interested in Salem as well, but I don't feel like I want to go there for the paranormal side of things, but I don't feel like
there's a connection.
Yeah, no, like
See,
I thought
I
about
do.
Salem before I was into anything paranormal. Like it was just something that I was fascinated in.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought about it before I did the paranormal, but it's always been for the aspect of the history and the paranormal.
Yeah, no, it was more like a polar draw.
Yeah.
Now, I've
like
been
your homestead.
Look, I get drawn. I go to Deborah's house and I feel like I'm at home because she's got this whole little compound going on.
I do dig the compound.
Right? Like, I'm like, this is great. Get a garden going. You get a couple animals. You got it made. Like, the homesteading aspect of things, I like the Appalachia times. I'm like super into it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like, I watch their videos all the time. And I mean, it's like watching family to me. I mean,
Yeah, I'm like, I
fit
love
in.
it.
I love it there.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. Like, or like Alaska. Like, I've always been drawn to Alaska.
Nope.
Nope,
Mm-mm.
too cold.
Too cold.
Okay,
I
so
like
me and
it
Deborah
cold,
might
but
have
that's
a lot in
too
common
cold.
over here.
Yeah, I could do it. I mean, go and live in the Alaskan bush. I don't think that was a past life of
I ain't
mine.
no snow bunny.
I don't think that was a past life of mine, but like now in this present life, it's very fascinating to me.
I wonder if your heritages kind of stay similar, like your roots. No.
Yeah, I've actually read yes. I've read yes, but I mean, hell, if I'm a Union soldier, then I'm not in this.
Look, there is probably, if your roots stay connected, there's probably not too many places in this world I wouldn't fit in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can blend with all different types of people, all different cultures.
Right.
My genealogy is, don't y'all laugh at me, it might explain a lot: Indian, Irish, Jewish, Scottish, and African.
German, Irish, and English.
I'm Swedish, Finnish, Irish, English, Italian, and Greek and Balkan.
Yeah. We all just a damn mixture of everything.
Heinz 57. Well, and you know, I've never felt. What's interesting is I've never felt drawn to any place in the world. Like, never been drawn to Egypt. Never been like fascinated by the history, of course, but never been drawn there. Like as if I belong there. I've always felt drawn to the United States. That's it. Might be multiple different states, but the United States. And I've read somewhere, I don't remember where, it wasn't during this research, it was a long time ago when I was really looking into it. But they say that typically, depending on how many lives you've had, your soul family stays together and typically stays within a similar region. Mm-hmm. Which makes sense why I haven't felt drawn to other countries. My family, one of my ancestors is like one of the first 1,000 people to step foot on this land from England. So, I mean, but way back in the 1600s. So, I mean, to me, it makes sense why I haven't been drawn to other places.
And it's funny saying that, like, I did the 23andMe and I was super fascinated. Like, I always kind of knew what your parents tell you that you were, but I always assumed that I was a little bit more this than this. And when the results came back and I was a much bigger percentage of this than this, and I was like, huh, really?
Like, my family goes back to England. Apparently we have a castle over there.
Nice. Can we go there?
No, it's a shopping mall now.
Oh,
they converted it. Anyway, yeah. And then the other half was Quakers, and yeah, it's a weird.
It's a Quaker meeting house downtown on Main Street.
I could probably go. Be like, I'm partly.
It's in a lawyer's office.
Partly Quaker. My dad's my dad's side was Quakers.
Hmm.
Anyway, moving on. Um, so we've all heard about people having near-death experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who has had a near-death experience describes seeing some sort of bright white light. Here's my theory on past lives. What if uh what if the the children who are seeing or who are remembering these past lives, a lot of times they will say, well, I was so and so and I did this, but then I saw a bright light. Next thing I knew, you were my mommy, you know? So they describe seeing a white light. And what if the white light is not necessarily the body itself dying, but what if it's the soul's transition to the next life?
That's what I was fixing to ask. Do you think it goes from straight from one life to the next, or do you think there's like a layover or
incubation period?
yeah?
There might be.
Yeah, but so this is a near-death experience, not a death experience. So then what happens to the white light when they live? If that's their soul transition.
Then their souls transition back.
They say, nope, pull it back.
Their job's not done there.
Yeah, they haven't learned everything yet. But what if the white light that is seen, souls transitioning through the universe, through whatever, and the white light, as we always describe it, the light at the end of the tunnel, what if it's not the afterworld? What if it's the light in the hospital room?
That's what I was just thinking.
Think it's really that quick? Just bam, right into a new soul?
Well, I mean,
yeah, but then how's it like a
If
kid
that's
that remembers
the case,
being a kid now that remembers being alive like in 1700? Like where's that gap of time where it doesn't?
Well,
there would almost have to be a gap in time if the what was it called, the soul something another
soul contract,
no
soul ties. Hold on.
The other people that get together and commune about what you're going to be doing and
the soul ties.
No,
karmic.
go.
That's as far up as I got.
Okay, scroll down.
Pause for effect.
Up, down.
Soul circle, soul family.
Soul family.
Soul family.
So they would have to catch up.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a lot of leaping around.
Yeah, but then, and we'll see some experiences in a minute. But some of the things that I've seen, it was the child at the age of 2 or 3, whenever they can start really talking, said, their mom was upset about something, and then the child, patted their shoulder and said, "It's okay. I remember when I was your great grandmother," or something like that.
I've heard quite a few stories like that.
So, but yeah, what if the death light is the soul transitioning into another life, being reborn, and the light is actually the light of the delivery room? Your soul can pick. I mean, if your soul has to wait, then it's not just one soul transitioning at a time. So it can be multiple, like, say something happens down the street, Joe Schmo, whatever. Well, his soul can transition. I don't know. I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm going in my own rabbit hole. But anyway, that's what I think, and I think that's an interesting theory. Very much so. All right, let's get into some experiences, because you've heard us ramble on long enough. Actually, you've heard me ramble on long enough. Been out of practice for 2 weeks.
I'm not going vacation again.
I got to get my mojo back together. Yeah, you went on vacation, and it's like everybody goes crazy. Mom's away. Let's play.
A little bit of update for our other listeners. We talked about going to the Vatican. Gianna did not burst into flames. So it's all good.
She made it back home safely.
She was welcomed to the Vatican
Unscathed.
with open arms.
I don't know about all that, but she didn't burst into flames.
All right, so all of these experiences come from BuzzFeed. Let's get into it. BuzzFeed.com. Quote, my 4-year-old told me about the time that she went for a swim in a lake and could hear her mom yelling and crying out for her, but she couldn't come because she was under the ducks. Then she remembers falling asleep, and when she woke up, I was her new mommy, end quote.
Oh, so you think it was like a child that drowned? And then, oh.
So, but that kind of like, okay, so she remembers falling asleep. So that, and then the next thing she knows. So what if several years or had passed between souls? Let's see. Quote, my 2-year-old niece pointed at the collapsing twin towers on the screen and said very clearly, I die. A news station was running a story about September 11th attacks, and my niece was just pointing at the TV intently and then turned to my sister-in-law and simply said, I die. End quote.
It's crazy.
Isn't it? Quote, my 4-year-old nephew talks about being on the Titanic all the time. He said he was with his wife and that it was really cold. And every time he watches a movie with boats or bodies of water, he gets freaked out and wants it to turn off. End quote.
That'd be an interesting past life.
I don't know.
I mean, something so historical. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I cry my eyes out every time I watch the movie.
I've actually heard of people, like kids, being so adamant of their past lives, and the parents actually start to do research, and they find there was one where this kid was like, no, I was married. This is my wife's name. This was our address, da-da-da-da-da. Well, it turns out the wife is still living, and they found the wife and took the kid, and the kid's like, well, you remember when? And then he's like,
can you imagine being that wife?
No, I mean, just hearing that freaks me out.
Right?
I mean,
that
it's
is
amazing,
crazy.
Crazy.
Right? And then, the kid obviously is like, okay, gotta go, I'll see you later. I gotta go back over here with these people. But
wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And then, there was a kid in, where was he? Wales or Scotland. And he was so adamant. He told his parents, and his parents finally started researching. Well, he was like, we lived in this house. This was the house that we lived in, blah, blah, blah. This is what we did. Well, they narrowed it down to that house and found the great grandchild of that person. And the kid met them, and the great grandchild was able to confirm everything that the kid was saying.
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
So you really can't doubt.
If my first husband is floating around out there somewhere, rich, find you a new mama, have her to bring you to my house, I want to lift your ass and wring your neck.
I'm not sure that's the purpose of a past life.
Maybe that's the lesson he's got to learn.
Well, he said he remembered his wife, so maybe. I can hope.
Come on
It's
down.
going to be a 3 or 4-year-old that shows up.
I don't care. If he says I was married to you, I know it's him because he did.
Your name? What's your name?
He ain't even got to tell me his name. All he's got to say was, I was your husband.
See you later. Quote, my 3-year-old son told me that he smothered someone once.
Geez.
I asked him if he knew what that word meant. He said it meant holding a pillow on someone's head until they stopped moving. I asked him when he did that, and he said a long, long time ago. End quote.
Well, that's a little scary. So at that point, are you raising a
Reincarnated serial killer?
Are you raising Jack the Ripper over there? Like, what's going on?
Oh, God bless the soul that's got Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, goodness.
See, I would like to think that
maybe some people don't get to come back.
some people
Well,
don't
like
get
it
to
said,
come
it's
back.
mostly people who had traumatic things happen to them, not that caused
Right.
traumatic experiences.
Well, this kid smothered somebody.
Well, he
Yeah,
had
well, maybe he
traumatic
was traumatically
things happen to
died.
him
Yeah.
before he died.
Right.
Jeffrey Dahmer did.
Yeah, but still, I don't think he gets a free pass.
Mm-mm.
I hope not.
Unless you think it's like a reoccurring, like Jeffrey Dahmer was Hitler. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, my
that
God.
over and over as different
Rabbit hole. Quote, when my son was 2 or 3, he'd talk about being an adult who rode horses in the woods. He said that one day he got hurt riding, then everything got dark. The next thing he knew, he was with me. I asked him where he got hurt, and he pointed to the birthmark on his stomach, end quote.
Yeah. So, do you guys have birthmarks?
I have a weird one on my side. And
you think it aligns? Can you remember anything?
And then I have one on the back of my head. Like I've never seen it because it's on the back of my head, but apparently I have one. Like, what is it? Little strawberry on
Stork bite.
Is that what they're called?
What about you, Deborah?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you have one?
I got one that looks like a piece of Hershey chocolate on the side of my foot.
I got a weird.
Do you ever have any problems with your feet? Any pain in the one foot? Like, could it correlate with an injury from the past?
Probably.
She was running from the gray man. The past life.
If I get sick or upset, it's like this whole area right here will turn blood red, and my lip right there,
which would still kind of be in line.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Quote, my daughter had a nightmare that she was playing paper dolls in her mom's bathroom when a man came in and murdered her and her brother. She's never ever seen paper dolls before, end quote. So this is to add to that last one. It says, quote, so I looked it up, and sure enough, there was a girl her age murdered while playing with paper dolls in her mom's bathroom in the 70s, end quote.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? This is funny. But quote, one day my 2-year-old brother randomly started describing the detailed process of making pizza.
Okay.
The process of keeping a fire going, using a brick oven, allowing dough to rise. He'd never seen anyone make pizza before. So my parents asked when he did this, and he said, with my old family, my mama and papa, not what we call our parents, before I died and came to live with you, end quote. Quote, the kid, I was babysitting a 5-year-old boy who, out of the blue, said, the ambulances came after I got hit and everyone was sad. 5 seconds later, he had no recollection of having said that, end quote.
So, having saying that, it's just almost like you might get to linger for a little bit and see, because you know, if he was hit like that, how does he know everybody was sad?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. We need to add that.
My mommy was screaming and yelling, and I was under the ducks. Like,
we need to add that question to our investigations. Like, what do you remember when you pass? Quote, our son is named after a Marine that was killed in action on my husband's last deployment. One day when he was 3, we drove by the military base where his namesake is buried. And our son said, I'm buried over there in the ground. You know, from when I died fighting bad guys with Daddy before I was your kid.
So, and that being said, too,
end quote.
A couple of the things that I read, it seemed that, like, so one of the stories was about a little boy named James, and when they talked to him, his soul was another James that had been murdered, and same thing, like a little girl, and her name was Sarah, and her sister in a past life told her that she was this, and that girl's name was Sarah. So I'm kind of almost wondering, like, if a name can travel with you as well. I mean, not through all of your lives, because you're not always a girl or always a boy. But if
Possible.
There are only 26 letters in the alphabet. Anything's possible.
well, it's our alphabet, it's not the only one.
True. No, that is interesting, though. Although I kind of hope that I don't have Aaron for the rest of my life. For the
All of your female lives.
Well, it could go either way.
Aaron.
It's one of those.
Eric.
Yeah, but you already said you know
Aaron,
one of your
Aaron.
names from a past life.
Thomas. Sounds so sophisticated. When I was my 3-year-old niece told me that she used to drive, and I said, when you're older, I guess. But she shook her head in frustration and said, no. When I was a grown up, now I'm too small. I humored her and asked her what her car was like. She told me in the surest tone, a 66 Chevy Camaro.
All right then.
My husband and I joke that our son is my dad reincarnated because he's just like him. He was conceived 3 months after my dad passed away from a sudden heart attack and was born with a birthmark right over his heart. If that's not enough, the first 3 letters my son ever wrote were G-U-Y. In that order, that was my dad's name. End quote. Let's see. My daughter was born with a heart condition and is very sickly. One day she said that she missed the old, not sick her. I asked what she meant, and she said since she had been born sick. She said, you know, me, but the other me with red hair.
Wow.
End quote. I mean, what would y'all's reactions be if your child came to you at a young age, like barely learning to talk? They can't even form complete sentences. And they came to you and they was like, you remember when such and such happened? And
I think it would depend on what they say. If it's something that's like a good memory or something that they sound happy with, I'd be fascinated. But if you got the kid who's smothering people, I'm not going to be
a little freaked out.
Not be too thrilled.
Be a little freaked out. I'd have to lock him in his bedroom and me in mine.
Just the smothering kid, or all of them?
No, the smothering kid.
Just the smothering kid. I got a couple more of these for you. When my son was 3, he would talk about his boardies, a wood-paneled station wagon, and someone named Bubba. He said he used to surf when he was older, before he became a kid. We live in the Midwest, and he's never seen the ocean, much less a surfboard. So maybe not just regional, maybe just continental.
Well, who knows? Because the one, I mean, I'm assuming that these are mostly BuzzFeed. It's probably
This is
people. But with the little kid who's recalling pizza in a brick oven, like that person might have come, straight from Italy.
My 5-year-old son told me that when he was old, he drowned in a flood. He said, but this time I'm learning how to swim and things will be different. See?
There's your lesson learned.
And then he took a swim. Yeah. So lessons are the whole concept. I know we've kind of rambled today. We've just rambled, but it's a baffling concept to me because I thoroughly believe that the existence of past lives is totally possible based on these instances.
Right.
And based on my own regressions of them, it's just the depth in which it goes is more than my brain can.
Well, sure. And then you can get into the whole Akashic Records thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would just.
Well, that's another day.
That's a whole nother episode.
Well, you notice most of these kids, 99% of them, if not all of them, were roughly about 3 years old.
3 years
4, and
old.
5 they were.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting topic to me, and it's one of those that, like, I can sit here and read all night, but I'm like discussing it, like I can discuss it, but it's such a, like I said, such a baffling topic that I'm like my mind will go blank because I'm absorbing it all because I'm a.
Well, now I'm super curious. Now I got to go hit the YouTube University and see what I can figure out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day in a near few hundred years, we can talk about my experience at Woodstock.
I want to hear this.
You had an experience at Woodstock?
No, but I hope I found one. That is a time period that I feel at home with.
Right.
I love the clothes. I love the music. I love the way of life. I just...
Yeah, I always said I was born in the wrong generation, too.
Oh, yeah.
Even the music I'm attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love me some Joni Mitchell.
Any recent era, like I love the 90s, obviously, because I'm a little biased because 1990, but if given the choice, would I go to the 90s? No. Like, I'm very drawn to 1920s or 30s and before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm not.
I just need to be somewhere where they still got toilets. I'm not trying to do no outhouses.
I can dig a hole.
Yeah, girl, I could be a hippie all day, every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I do love it.
What was the hippie era? That was the 70s,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Late 60s, 70s. Oh, I love me some bell bottoms.
What?
Yeah.
Yarn crop tops? Or crocheted crop tops?
Girl, could you imagine me? And
I just couldn't burn my bra.
Oh, I need that.
Sorry.
I need it.
Sorry.
Would you let your?
I think I
Would
was
you
supposed
braid
to
your
be
hair?
the mama. No. No. I was supposed to be the mama, and my mama was supposed to be the child, I think.
So then next question. Can your soul contract or whatever, like, can there be a mistake?
I wouldn't say a mistake per se, but I think...
No, because it's all meant to be a teaching lesson.
Yeah.
So maybe at one point it was the other way and you guys need to learn some kind of lesson from it.
It could be, and I think we learned our lesson because the relationship that we have now is polar opposite from what it was.
Maybe you needed to learn how to walk in each other's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the Reiki master over here. She's dropping.
It makes sense.
Little salt bay action with the Reiki, with the past life knowledge.
Yeah, I pick on her all the time now because she comes and stays with us quite often.
Yeah, she's the sweetest.
I pick on her a lot and tell her, it's hard for me to be a single parent.
She watch our podcast?
Yes.
Hey, Mama Wanda.
Hey.
She loves it.
Good.
She loves it.
Oh, man. Let's see. Do we have any more stories? All right, I got one more story for you. And then we'll just discuss it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Quote, I was singing a song to my 3-year-old daughter that my great-grandma used to sing to me when I was small. My daughter smiled, stroked my cheek, and said, I remember when I used to sing this to you when I was the mommy and you were my little girl.
I
End
would
quote.
have lost it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I probably would have fallen out on that one. That one would have sent me over the edge. So anyway, yeah. What do y'all think about all this now that we've kind of scatterbrained our way through it?
I'm not done. I have another question.
Oh,
So, do you ever think, like, so when I was little, I used to have a reoccurring nightmare, and now I'm wondering if that was me remembering something.
Could be.
You think having reoccurring, like, did you guys have any reoccurring dreams or nightmares?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had.
And it fits with the traumatic thing. Like, I remember being very claustrophobic and, like, having nightmares of being in small, like I don't know, maybe, like, almost like being buried alive.
I was under my great grandparents' house, and I got stuck. This is the dream, and I've had it since I've been an adult.
I stopped having it when I was younger, but
I haven't had mine. I still remember mine, and mine has nothing to do. Well, not that I know of, has nothing to do with my past lives, but I was walking on a dirt path, and the dirt path suddenly turns into like a sheer drop off, and then at the bottom there's this big old pool, and I'm walking and slip, fall, and bang up on some rocks at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, so all three
And
things.
And I don't remember ever coming back up. But I wake up and I'm like,
I'm sure you've had more than 3 past lives, so.
I am, I'm sure. I mean, it would kind of fit in with the Appalachia lifestyle.
We'd be pretty good at making some hooch.
Sure.
We could try
I
that anyway.
I got some moonshine over there, actually.
I can make it, but I can't drink it.
I like moonshine.
We got whiskey and moonshine over there that somebody gave my husband at work, and it's been sitting there. I ain't drinking.
Can't do it.
Figured if shit gets bad and we need to fuel up the car and go.
There you go.
But no, this is such a fascinating topic, and I feel like, yes, I've researched it countless times before. Even before this, we're part of each other's soul circle.
I believe so.
Yeah,
You can see that. I mean, look how, like, it's always been said since the time that we met.
We all
kind
just
of fell into place.
Fell in sync with each other.
We've signed each other's soul contracts, and we're stuck with each other till we learn our lesson.
I'm not mad about it.
I'm not either.
I'm not mad about it.
I'm not either. I think we got a good group, a good team, and we really have become like a family.
Yeah, we have.
But yeah, this is just a topic that's going to just be never ending research and constantly down the rabbit hole. But yeah, hopefully we made some sort of sense.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed, right? If not,
What you got?
I'm just curious as to who out there has had some experiences or have some good stories to share with us.
Let us know in the comments of the YouTube video or on our Facebook page under the episode 10 announcement.
10.
Yeah, we're
Yes, double digits.
We're finally at 10.
We are 2 hands.
I mean, isn't that crazy? It's gone by really quick. But it's just, I've had so much fun doing it.
It is fun.
And I'm excited for all the episodes to come.
They keep getting better and better.
Keep getting better and better. But yeah, I don't have my next one yet. But do you want to announce your next one?
Well, I'm going with the Jersey Devil.
All right.
All right.
Oh, I'm excited for that one. That one will be good.
I have a lot of research to do because I know nothing.
Can we take a trip to the Pine Barrens?
Sure.
They say a lot of people get lost out there.
Gianna wants to go to Jersey for New Year's Eve. It's
That's
cold.
an interesting
Too cold to go there.
choice for New Year's Eve.
No, not to the Pine Marriage. She wants to go to Jersey.
Oh. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad that you're back from your trip, and I'm glad Gianna's exorcism went well.
I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad you have the comforts of some AC.
For real, they do not like AC. We got to that airport, and it was sweltering in there. They are not fans.
And I'm glad you're here.
No, boo. I'm so glad to be here, too. Even if we got caught in the rain last night, about drowned at the river.
Well, we about became one of those past life stories.
Yeah.
We ended up having to stand up under the bridge
because we was listening to one of the problem children. No, it's gonna miss us. It's gonna turn left.
It's gonna veer left. Shout out.
And veer left.
We had fun in that bridge though.
We did. We did.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, there you have it. Past lives. Let us know what you think. And until next time, y'all come back now, you hear?